Welcome to the Gritty Podcast, folks. Thanks for joining us. Today, I'm joined by my brother, the Gritty Broman. How are you, Brent?
I'm well, thank you.
We're jumping into studio since we finished our last bear film
Hallelujah.
Of our series. So we had 2 bear series. Each series was 4 episodes, so 8 total.
Yep.
That's 8 Sundays. We dropped some hunt video. It's time, though, to start doing some podcasting.
Yes.
We got a lot we want to talk about. One of the things that we figured we'd cover today, that we got a lot of comments that have come through on the YouTube series about hunting, about the series itself, just funny stuff. And so we wanted to just take, a day, a podcast.
I must say, our YouTube audience, they're great. It's not just like, cool, awesome, thumbs up. We get these well thought out, written, funny, deep comments that are really enjoyable to read.
Yeah.
Like, I get Joe Rogan doesn't read his comments, but he also has psychopaths following him. And I probably wouldn't want to read all the comments.
Yeah, and Joe's in a whole different ball game.
But our audience they're fun to engage with.
Yeah, I've tried really hard to stay connected through the YouTube and respond and just read every comment. And Brent and I, especially when I release the films on Sundays, it's kind of my day to sit down and interact and engage with everyone that's
after a
following along.
long, hefty nap.
Yeah, it's been producing the content and trying to keep all the balls in the air, juggling stuff is tough, but it's been really rewarding. Mm-hmm. The films have done really well. If you haven't seen them, check out our YouTube page. I think they're on briancall.com, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes Brent doesn't get them all linked there.
Sometimes briancall.com is a funky little beast.
So briancall.com.
Yeah, and if you look at the top bar, it says Gritty Films. You hit Gritty Films, and oh look, they're all there.
Yeah, in the most recent to the oldest. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of nice if you go to briancall.com because they're just kind of organized in a playlist there, everything we produced in order that it's supposed to be in, from the most recent to the oldest. So, and you'll see there's two bear series right there. And
44 films total.
Yeah.
Over the 5 pages.
That's cool. I mean,
that's a good little library, bro.
We're getting there. I mean, I think I talked to, Trent Fisher over at Born and Raised. He's like, we do 14 videos a month.
I know.
And I'm like, yeah, well, I do 4, maybe.
And he told them, I do about 3 podcasts a week. And he's like, oh my, how do you do that?
Yeah. Different styles, but good stuff either, But one thing I'm really happy with is that engagement. I feel like it's been a lot of fun to produce the content, and we have so much good stuff coming down the pipeline because we've got 6 mule deer hunts, Ryan and I. Mm-hmm. 6 mule deer hunts this year, and they're going to be cool. And then we've got 4 elk tags between us, and that's archery, and we're going to film that. So we also have have some fall bear, folks.
Oh, you're going to tell them. Okay.
So it looks like we're probably going to do some fall bear somewhere. And that's going to be late August, probably September, but just before the archery elk. And the reason we decided to do that is just because we can never have too much bear meat. And there's just a big community growing that likes all this bear content, and we have had a lot of questions about fall bear because we've mostly targeted spring. And I've only hunted fall bear one time. Ryan has hunted fall bear forever, and it is the best time to get them with all the fat because they're just slamming blueberries and they're eating so much vegetation that they've got a lot of that delicious blueberry flavored bear fat that you can rendered. Ryan has jars of it. I have jars of it, but it's not quite the same in the spring as the fall. So it's new terrain, new country, completely different landscape. And that's part of our goal too. We want to film hunts that are really, they're one hunts in this state, one hunts in that state, all public land, over the counter type stuff. And it's like, look, pay more attention to maybe how we hunt than where we hunt, because the how is really, I think, what matters. Because if you take these how-tos and this information and you apply it in any over-the-counter kind of public land area, you're going to be successful. I mean, it's really eye-opening to me to see what, not every public land unit is created equal. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. But it's amazing to me how I can find, and Ryan more so, I've learned from Ryan a lot. You can find great animals almost it's like he's not afraid of any unit. Mm-hmm. Show me the unit, I'll find the animal and get it. So
not only will he find the animal, he'll find the biggest animal, and it's
a very good one.
Him.
Yeah. So that's been that's completely blown away my mindset, because we're always told in like these hunting, like the Hunting Fool or Eastman's, these tag drawing strategies, and if you go here, you can get this, and you can find that mature animal if you apply for this tag for 10 years. And it's like, there's actually really great hunting opportunities that are 1 point, 2 points, no points, over the counter, all over the place. And it's a shame that more of us aren't in the know and aren't doing those hunts, because look at us with our bear. Anybody can go and just do it. And these are not hunts that we had to draw. These are not hunts that were hard to get. These are over the counter, public land, walk in and do your thing. Granted, they took a level of physical effort that most hunts don't take. True. And that's what you get when you draw a tag that takes 20 years. Often you're drawing a tag that has great access. You can drive around in a car. There's a big trophy bull on the hill there, and you're in it. It's going to be really hard. It's going to be pretty easy to get a tag to an area like Hell's Canyon, and it's straight up, straight down, and you got to hike 15 miles to get into where the elk is. And then when you kill it, the only way to get it out is to carry it up a mountainside. You're going to have, a lot of opportunity at animals there. You're not going to have to wait 20 years to draw that tag because it's there. But fitness, what I kind of wanted to do with the film series that we produce is show people that you can do it. Like, maybe you're not going to go 10 miles in a day. Maybe you're going to go 2, but still, even that 2 sets you apart. You go 2 miles that day, 2 miles the next day, 2 miles the next day. You're 6 miles in now. And maybe you see a bear a long way off. You're like, I couldn't get there if I wanted to. No, you can. You really can. You can just plot it on the map and take another day to get there. 4 days in, you're like, man, I only have a 6-day hunt. But now you only need 1 day. You only need day 5 or day 6, And so I think all we're trying to do, it's funny, like the last series we did, we killed a bear on the second to the last day, and then we killed a bear on the last day, and then we had to spend the next 3 days it took us like 3 days to get in, it took us like 3 days to get out. It took us a couple days to find bears after we got into the area. So I'm really challenging people's ideas of how to hunt and how long it takes to go from one place to the next. And I think it's interesting because it opens people's minds to different possibilities now. And sometimes you can hear someone talk about it, but it's a lot different than when you actually see someone do it, So it's been really cool. So Brent grabbed a few comments from the films, questions mostly, that he thought would be interesting to talk about on today's show. So we're going to do that. Before we do that, we got to plug our coupon codes for all of our partners. You can save what we've got. Well, one of the coolest ones is Alpaca Rafts. And if you saw the video series, you know about it. So if you go to the description field on all of these, you'll see all the codes listed on our podcasts in the YouTube videos here. But Brent, what's the code for Alpaca Rafts?
That would be Gritty 2020.
Gritty 2020, and you get 10% off, which is a great deal. And then Mountain Ops, always use the code Gritty at Mountain Ops, and you get some free shipping. And in the meantime, like something I want to throw out there is the Mountain Ops protein bars, the new ones. They're pretty darn tasty. And I digest them real well. They're a nice treat. I've been really enjoying having those. I've been taking them on the hunts. they're not a replacement for like my Perfect bars, which I absolutely adore, but they're a great little addition to the pack there.
They got a longer shelf life than the Perfect bars do too.
Yeah. So check them out. They're amazing. They're amazingly delicious. The chocolate caramel, the caramel, the chocolate, and the peanut butter. It's like, which one do I like more? I can't really tell.
I'll tell you right now, chocolate, bottom of the list.
It's actually,
I've had it. It's just
it's
not a
kind of
chocolate.
my favorite. My
Really?
wife's favorite. Yep. At first it wasn't, but now it's edged out caramel, actually. So it's peanut butter, chocolate, and then the caramel. But it changes. But here's what, after a heavy, like a long run or some intense activity, I crave it. It's a good little bar. So there's that. And then one thing I've been using a lot lately is Ignite, but I kind of use that all the time. And then Slumber for sleeping. So if you're in the backcountry, those Slumber packets are pretty darn great to have. They're a nice drink to have after your meal. And then you can...
And if your pad goes flat in the middle of the night, you won't wake up.
Another product that I'm really loving right now are my Sheep Feet custom orthotics. And it's kind of a no-brainer for everyone. You know, I've been skeptical. I had them on the podcast, but I've been wearing these Sheep Feet now for 3 or 4 weeks. Been hiking in them. Ryan has been using them for like 8 months or something and didn't tell me. And now that I've got them in, I'm really enjoying them, and they're really helping with. I'm not getting any kind of cramps in my arch like I've had at times. So I'm very curious how it's going to go on a long hunt. But so far, they're great. So you get a discount there. Custom orthotics aren't cheap either, but you buy them once and they last forever. Also, Sissy Sticks. We're selling a ton of those. So check that out. Use the code GRITTY. You get 15% off. It's a good discount. And they're the best out there for the value between the carbon fiber and the aluminum. We're doing a hike. That's another thing we should mention. We're doing a hike this Saturday in
July
Big Sky.
18th.
And if you're interested in going, we've just got like 40 slots. And due to permits and rules and stuff with hikes, it's kind of lame. But so we've got these limited spots. But if you sign up, you get trekking poles as part of your sign up. And it's $85. And you get entered to win. We've got a whole pile of gear we got from like Leupold, Sheep Feet, Stone Glacier, Mountain Ops. I'm sorry, I'm missing others, but the Goat Knives, we got some cool stuff. So you got a good chance of winning something cool too.
And then there's another hike in Utah.
In Utah, the following week, which is the weekend of TAC. Both of them are on the weekend of TAC. And that's the weekend up here in Park City in Utah. So if you're in and you're interested and you want a steal on some poles and join us for a hike, jump in on that. You just go to sissysticks.com and click on the events link, and you can go there and get registered for one of those events. So Ryan and I are we're going to do the hike, and about midway through, we're going to do some Q&A and hang out, and then do some giveaways. It'll just be fun. So if you want to join us, check that out. Yeah, I think that's it. That's good for now. Let's get into the show here. So Brent, Terrible Ted. That came up on like episode 3 of our last series, I think it was.
I went through a couple of the video stakes. I'm doing some Instagram posty stuff. I don't remember any of those films. Everything was just a solid blur. And I could not remember which episode was which episode. I can remember the order of the bears that were shot, but I could not remember the order of the films.
Yeah, I don't have that problem.
Yeah, no,
Mine's
it
like
was
a steel trap.
One ear out the other, like a sieve.
So we're making this film, and Brent stumbles on this thing where there's an actual bear, black bear, that was declawed and detoothed for a circus, like a Russian circus or something.
So I was going down the Wikipedia page, and there was something said about history and culture of black bears. And there was one about this one in Japan. Yeah. There was a black bear in Japan who killed like 7 people, mauled them all to death. and there's actually like a totem on a temple of him, and he's got his own little shrine. Jeff, I don't get that. He mauled a bunch of people, so he got a shrine, and so I clicked on that. And then it had like a list of like other weird things that have happened throughout history with black bear. So I basically just started going down a bunch of hyperlinks out of Wikipedia. And this one popped up, and it just said, Terrible Ted. And I was like, that name is going to stick with you. And so I started reading it. And yeah, he's a bear who, Brian, he didn't just wrestle. He wrestled professionally.
WWE, right?
F. Yeah, the
Worldwide
Wrestling
Wrestling Federation.
Yes.
Okay.
He wrestled against superstar Billy Graham. Not Billy Graham, superstar Billy Graham, who was at the time the current world champion in the WWF.
Didn't the bear only lose one match?
So
he got pinned once.
Yes. In his younger days. So he started off in a carnival. And so they declawed him and stuff, and people could just pet him.
Yeah.
So he was a pet. Well, for some reason, the carnival goes bumpkiss and they foreclose. So this guy comes along and adopts him.
You got to see the photos. If you didn't see the video, there's some actual photos posted in the video where you see this thing. Just Google it and look it up. This bear is literally wrestling dudes in a wrestling ring.
And half of them look like luchadors. Like they've got the big old, like, creepy
Nacho Libre kind of mask.
And they're going at it. And so this guy is a friend of the bear owner, and he's like, hey. He just starts wrestling with a bear one day, and then he decides he wants to train the bear. And he's like, we'll take him around, we'll take him to carnivals and fairs, and we'll bet people that they can't wrestle him. Because this guy was like a 2-time world wrestling champion or something like that, or a college wrestling guy and stuff. And so they're like, okay, yeah, let's do this. And so they were taking him around all across America. They're from Canada, by the way, so that should explain a lot. And so
I love Canadians.
Yeah, and so the one guy that beat him was some old farmhand who wanted some money for some spare parts for his truck that broke down on the way to the fair. And he's the only person who pinned it. And they stiffed the guy. They didn't pay him, and they jumped and they ran out of town. And they ended up getting the bear repossessed as collateral damage, and so then they had to pay the guy to get the bear out of jail. I don't know why the bear had to go to jail.
That's why I said on the video, you can't make this stuff up. Like this is, you know what this reminds me of?
What?
Tiger King.
100. Like
it's real. This whole thing's real.
He had a 25-year wrestling career.
Yeah.
Professionally. So he wrestled for a couple years.
I was like, well, doesn't he still bite? But he wrestles with a muzzle on, it looks like.
Well, they took out all of his teeth.
I know he had no teeth, but he still has sort of a big muzzle on during the wrestling matches.
Yeah.
Because you're still going to have pounds of pressure from a jaw, it's crazy.
Wrap around your throat.
Even with no teeth, it's still going to, who knows, but that's wild, man. It's a big bear. It's a real big bear.
Notably against people such as Gypsy Joe. Man Mountain Manigoff, which he won in 8.
You know what's funny is Brent was reading me these names and he's like, dude, in today's woke society, half these names are racist.
Hall of Famer Angelo Savoldi, who to this day holds the record of being the oldest professional wrestler. He retired at the age of 99. And
what?
And Don Kent, also known as Black Dragon. Skunk Man, Gito Mongol, and the list of people he went up against, but most notably it was in the WWF against the champion superstar Billy Graham at the height of his career.
Yeah, I'd like to see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson wrestle.
Any bear.
So that was a wild tangent. So I had a question that came through. This is by Kilo Whiskey 1. He said, another great episode. Brian, do you have a lower metabolism? 2,900 calories per day seems low according to most of the research I've read, but I tend to only need 2,800 to 2,900 per day, and I often have to force it down. So he's referring to, on episode 3, I think it was, we put together a list of the menu for the day of what Ryan ate and what I ate.
For that specific day, because it was near the end of the hunt, you guys didn't have a lot of food
We just picked a day. We figured we will start sprinkling that in here and there on future films. It's really easy for us to kind of throw it together. And it varies from day to day. So that's not like that was just an example of that's actually what we ate that day. True, like honest and truly, that's what we ate. What's not included in those calories is, I don't remember how many are in drinks. So we had a drink page that popped up too, which showed drink mixes. And one of our favorites for Ryan and I both is the Liquid IV electrolytes. We get those from Costco, or they're everywhere now, but we'll use those. I use Ignite primarily. Sometimes I use Yeti, but if I bring a sample, like a Yeti packet, it's got the creatine and other things, and it amps me up a little much. It's a great pre-workout, but it's a little much for backpacking. I prefer the Ignite blends. But Ryan will bring those Lipton. We both do. In fact, I'm drinking it right now. Lipton tea, like sugarless flavor packets.
They basically just flavor water.
Yeah, that's all it is. Some have caffeine, some don't. But it's just a sugarless. It's like, I think it's made from stevia. So it's like plant-based sweetener. There's nothing artificial in it or anything. We'll do the lemonade or the black tea, whatever kind of flavors. There's a pomegranate one. And then what else was on there? Pedialyte. I bring Pedialyte. I'll bring that. And I use the Mountain Ops straight to mouth electrolytes, which I especially like for when I fill my water bottle up with water and I sterilize it. And I want to drink some water, but I don't want to flavor it because I want to cook my salmon chowder meal with the water, right? So it's like I can do the straight to mouth, and then I'm not like Ryan and I joke, like nobody wants to drink straight water
ever.
You want to flavor it like every time, and a lot of times, especially it's not going through a filter; it's going through a Steri-Pen. Now and then, if we're drinking right out of a snow runoff, like that's just crystal clean spring coming out of the top of a mountain, yeah, we'll drink the water straight. But kind of you crave some kind of flavor or salt or even sugar.
And sometimes you just need it to mask the flavor of your puddle that you're drinking.
Yeah, absolutely. So what happens is when you add that, it's another maybe 200 to 300 calories or more from the sugar in your Liquid IV or your Pedialyte or whatever you're using. And then we throw in some bone marrow, bone broth from Lona Life. Some of that goes in there.
I ordered some of that.
Ryan drinks a lot of coffee. And so when you add all this stuff in there, there's a few more calories that's pushing you up from 29 or 3,000 to 3,300 or 3,400. And then some days, I average 3,500 calories for the day. And then some days I eat 2,500 calories for the day just because I've lost my appetite. We've done a lot of exercise. Another thing that I often bring that wasn't on that list is shot blocks. I like those Cliff Bar shot blocks or Honey Stinger, like little fruit deals. So, but in general, I mean, it surprises us how few calories we're actually consuming out there. And I don't think that it's that our metabolism is so low. One thing I think is at play here is that Ryan and I aren't, if you look at what we eat, our carb sources, we're not really into the hard sugars that much, and we keep our sugar intake pretty low because we've learned that sugar creates a lot of inflammation, both in the gut but in muscle recovery. So adding, having a pretty low sugar type of menu for the day, or if we do have sugar, it's like dried melons, dried pineapple, dried mangoes, dried apples, dried bananas. And literally we cut all those things up and we'll have 3 or 4 servings of apples and bananas. And Ryan loves melons. I've been bringing mangoes. He started bringing mangoes. Pineapple, he brings a lot of pineapple. And we barter. Like, I'm like, hey, Ryan, I'll trade you these mangoes for your like melons or whatever. Right. So
trade you my tuna fish for PBJ.
And so we go back and forth here and there. But for the most part, I think that when you eat a lot of sugar and sugar makes up a lot of your diet, you end up consuming more calories than you need or than you should. And I think a lot of times people are eating because they're not getting they're overeating the wrong foods to make because they're hungry because they're not getting their nutritional needs met.
And I also, when I'm hiking long stretches at a time, at the end of it, I'm not really hungry. My appetite's kind of killed.
That's that. Like he said, Kilo Whiskey 1. He's like, I often have to force it down. Ryan and I don't have to force our food down, and you know why? Because it's delicious. Because everything we bring, we really truly like, and we crave, and it's tasty. And I don't know how much of that is just that it's straight up nutritional, solid food. In fact, all the reasons why we do what we do is pure speculation, folks. Like, let me just get that out right now. It's just speculation. That's why I like putting the menu on the video, because it's like, I don't know why it works. I just know that these foods work. I don't know why these calories work. I just know that they work. And sometimes that's all you need to know, is that from trial and error and experience, this is a great menu. Doesn't cause much inflammation, gives me just the right amount of carbs, just the right amount of proteins, just the right amount of micronutrients.
That sounds like a campaign answer. How do you do it? I just do it.
Well, what's funny is I'm way better at the details than Ryan is. I'm like, Ryan, how many calories is that? And how many calories are in your sweet potato leather / applesauce, fruit leather? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, how many ounces of that do you bring? What's a serving for you? I don't know. No idea. But it turns out what's funny is our menus are
real similar
when it comes to the actual calories we're taking in, what the mix of our foods is. It's really funny because it's very close. Ryan is too cheap to buy very many peanut butter bars, so he makes his own, which rival the purchased ones. Literally, his, the different like hemp bars and peanut butter bars that Ryan makes out of Adam's peanut butter and basically oats and coconut. They're real close to the perfect bars, but they're made at home for pennies and cents, And he's experimented with all sorts of styles and types that he makes all the time. And he puts like honey in them, and they're delicious. And I'll trade a real peanut butter bar, perfect bar, for like some of his, because it's just nice to mix it up. But when you measure it all out, we're kind of eating a lot of the same foods, which was not by design. We've been very independent on that. And it's just like, okay, I like his fruit leather, and I've incorporated that a lot into my diet, but I always brought something similar to that. And I actually prefer to the fruit leather. That's one of Ryan's favorites.
Do you ever trade him dinners?
I like sweet potatoes. But I much rather just slam like 3 apples and a banana dried than the leather. Ryan's the opposite. He'd rather have the leather than anything else. He's like, this is my favorite thing to eat today. It's the glorious moment of the day when I get to pull this out and cherish it and eat it. And I'm like, it's fruit leather. Like, yeah. Everybody's a little different. But your question, do we trade meals?
Specifically dinners.
There's no point. I do not like any dinners that Ryan eats in general.
How come?
Well, so Ryan likes spicy food.
Oh, we're back to the spicy.
Ryan likes spicy foods, so his stuff tends to be too spicy. Heather's Choice meals tend to be a little spicy for me. So, I like the Heather's Choice salmon chowder. That's great. Mostly everything else, a little too much for me. But she's coming out with more. No big deal for Ryan. He thinks they're great. But then we make our own homemade meals, and we've traded a couple times, like my wife's meals that she makes for me and the ones that Ryan makes. But in general, no, not too much bartering when it comes to entrees. So all I know, like I said, is those calorie blends seem to work. I don't know that it's a metabolism thing. I feel very fit and lean when I get home. I don't lose muscle mass really.
You do come back lighter.
Yeah, when right now I'm about 198, and when I came back from those hunts, the first hunt I was 178.
What were you when you left? 210?
No, 200. 200.
I'm sorry.
210?
10 pounds. Woo.
No,
Like you've
it's a
never
lot.
been 210.
I was 210 once, like 8 years ago or 9 years ago.
No.
No, I basically lost about 20 pounds. I don't know how much of that was water or whatever, but I came back from the first bear series 20 pounds lighter, and then I stayed at that weight. In fact, I put on a few more pounds, and I covered more miles and hiked longer and ate the same foods. I think once I'm around 180, I just stay there, plus or minus a couple pounds, 178, 182. I think that's really my ideal weight. But when I get home, I eat Haagen-Dazs ice cream, and Suzanne makes me cookies on Sunday, and I'm still really active, and I lift a lot of weight. That's one thing that's a little different between Ryan and I. I do like to go to the gym and lift the barbell and do squats and heavy lifts.
That's one of the other questions. What does your guys' workouts look like?
Well,
because yours is different. I mean, there's little similarities, but I think yours is pretty different.
I can answer that question next if you think we've covered this one. I guess what I was just going to, wrapping this up, in my opinion, what works for Ryan and I is pretty ideal. We just know that it works, and we can hunt week after week, month after month on that meal and feel really healthy. It used to be when I ate Mountain House and I had Cliff Bars and I had junk food. Within 5 days, my hands were swollen, my feet, I would be sore a lot. I would, not perform very well. After 14 days of hunting in September, I needed a month to recover so I could go do another hunt. Now it's like I'm more fit after a hunt than before I leave on a hunt, and I am ready to rock and roll on the very next hunt. Despite the fact that we're doing intense exercise, no problem. I don't have sore parts. I'm not like exhausted. I feel great. So I think the meals and stuff, we kind of got it dialed, and nutrition. The other thing that that's not on that list that I think is important, Ryan takes a lot of CBD oil. I've been taking CBD oil. Definitely feels like it makes a difference. And I take calcium, magnesium, and fish oil. I take the Shift calcium, and I take the Costco fish oil. But I think for me, it's all the difference. So fish oil and calcium. I'll take vitamin D, some IUs of vitamin D, maybe 4. And so all that kind of rounds out what I do. Ryan's got the peptides and some other stuff in the Lono Life broth. He's got, I don't know if there's glucosamine in there or not, but
there's a lot of collagen. You can get ones that have a ton of collagen packed in them.
So anyway, we'll start putting more of that, like today's menu, because it's a little different day to day. We don't just do exactly the same thing. We'll start throwing it up there, and over time, I think people that are following will get a feel for our daily kind of the things we eat and how we mix it up. Like emergency packets. That's another drink thing. We always bring a couple of those a day and have emergency vitamin C. Why does Lampers always shoot first every single trip? Because he's an a-hole.
You heard it here, folks.
No, it's the way that
you guys have a system.
Yeah.
Which this is why I wanted to bring it up, because I was confused for a long time too.
So here's the deal, folks, and this is just how it goes. Whoever spots it first gets it, and that sucker just spots everything first. I mean, it's so frustrating. But I'm holding my own. In fact,
in this last bear series, it went Lampers, you again, and then Lampers.
I shot 2 bears in a row because I spotted. So what happens is whoever spots it first gets to go after it.
Or pass.
Yeah. Once the tag is on
Which is why Brow Tines was never shot.
Once the tag is on it, it's the next guy's turn no matter who spots it.
But then.
And then it starts over again. Like, because we had 4 tags. And so it's like, so Ryan shot because he spotted it. If I had seen it first, it had been mine. And
it was a pretty bear.
And then what's cool about that though is sometimes the best bear is the second one, and I get it no matter if Ryan sees it or not. So it's kind of funny.
But that third bear,
that third bear,
real competition.
And you can
see in episode 3, Ryan's like, How dare you?
Yeah, he wants to dominate on all the spots and get all the shots first. So it was kind of cool. It's really nice when I give him a run for his money and spot one. Here's what I've learned. I'm pretty darn good at spotting animals within a reasonable distance. If I can just be looking in that direction before he does, I'll see it.
You also have your head in the camera and you're filming a lot.
Yeah, but once that animal is at a 2 miles and greater distance, those little dots.
Yeah, those pinpricks on the hillside.
Ryan's a special kind of glassing phenom. He'll see things that you're like, what? But there now and then there'll be things where I'm like, I see it, and he'll have trouble seeing it, and I'm like, I'm good. Like, I'm good. So
like that one bear that was in the middle of the open field right there, just sitting there flipping rocks.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That was bear number 4. So I spotted bear 3 and bear 4.
Hey.
And he spotted bear 1 and bear 2. But that's kind of how it goes. I hope that answers the question there. So anyway, sometimes it's whoever spots it gets it no matter what. And I'm like,
no,
that's really tough. So then Ryan could potentially tag 2 bears and the trip's over and
gotta go.
And we're both sharing the experience, it's like, so we're both into each other's success.
Yeah.
So it seems like the best way to do it is how we do it. If one person, whoever spots it gets that first one, then it's just the next guy gets to fill his tag.
Yeah. It's very fair. I mean, if my buddy, especially here's the deal, they're going to help me pack it.
Yeah.
Well,
what's great about the whole who spots it, shoots it kind of thing, at least in the initial rollout, what's great about that is it creates a big incentive to find it. A competitive thing that, we both have in us. So neither one of us are willing to stop glassing for any period of time. We're just like trying to beat the other guy. So it's great, actually. All right. We bounced around. There was a question you said about fitness. Yes. What do we do for fitness? Ryan hikes a lot. He flat out just hikes a lot, puts a lot of walking miles in place. He'll go and check out an area on a map. He'll walk in 10 miles, look at something and walk out a couple days a week. And I think he's a secret closet workout guy that he just doesn't admit to.
He's got a full rack down in the basement.
Yeah, his basement's stacked with some workout gear, and I see some workouts written on a whiteboard.
Ryan's down there doing like 80 kips.
Yeah. I think there's something going on there that he tries to pretend like he's not doing.
He's got a lot of barns. I could see it.
He does the Mountain Tough workouts, a few of those that he kind of picks and chooses, I know, and he sticks with one that he really likes. So the Mountain Tough guys put together some workouts, kind of at-home stuff. If you got gym gear, it kind of wrap that in, but it's very it's kind of what would I say? It's high-intensity training kind of stuff, like CrossFit-esque, like the exercises jump around, but it's more, I would say, not classic CrossFit. Like there's not a lot of barbell kind of stuff. It's more like push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups.
A lot of body movements.
A lot of calisthenics and stuff, which I do quite a bit of myself. So for me, I actually enjoy running, trail running, little Cameron Hanes style, just run the trail. So I run 3 to 5 miles a day. That's what I've been trying to do. Lately, I've been doing 3.5, 4 miles every day. And I just sort of, jump out here behind the house and I just start running. And then I hit the gym 2 to 3 days a week where I do some kind of random workout. The last 2 weeks, I've been doing, like, for example, I've been doing the same workout for 2 weeks, every other day or so. And Brent can attest to how tired I've been because I've been just sleeping crazy hours. Because when I start ramping up a full body fitness program, I sleep a lot. I have to sleep to deal with the workload. It's funny. I can hike forever. I can put on a pack and carry a heavy pack and hike and hike and hike and hike and hike. And it's like your legs just say, okay. And your back, it's like, okay. And it just seems to never be too much. I'm never exhausted.
I've seen some really skinny armed dudes that can hike and pack a lot of weight.
Yeah. But when you start throwing in a full body regimen, burpees, push-ups, handstand push-ups, anything with like farmers carries and things like that, any kind of pull-ups, I find that is so much more body taxing than for me than just my hiking. So what I like to maintain is some kind of base level of fitness. So I am hiking and running these mountain trails up and downhill. And then that's my base, and I try to do it daily because I feel fine. But when I start throwing in the other workouts, so for example, like I said, what I've been doing is 5 rounds of 20 burpees, 15 push-ups, 5 pull-ups, and 3 handstand push-ups, and then repeat. So by the time I'm done, I've done 100 burpees, 75 push-ups. I've done 60 pull-ups. Anyway, so something like that. So volume-wise, I'm hitting a number I want. It takes me about 20 minutes. Keeps my heart rate up at a certain level kind of the whole time because I try not to have any breaks. I try to just cycle through, each.
Do one, then the next,
the next, and just do them solid. Like,
so just a follow-up question. Say you're 2 weeks out from going on a specific type of hunt. Do you change that?
Well, I've kind of talked about this before. If you're a dude who is just getting back into fitness because you've been out for a long time, man, I am a firm believer in the barbell. So I think dudes should do squats and deadlifts.
Yeah.
And pull-ups. I think those are like key exercises. Figure out how to do them. Find some videos or some instruction on how to do those exercises and take your time and actually do those movements 2 or 3 days a week to build bone density, joint and ligament strength, muscle strength, musculoskeletal strength. I think that a lot of guys have let their bodies deteriorate, and a great way to bring it back is just, I think a great foundation program is Starting Strength.
By Mark
Rippetoe. And you can find his videos on YouTube, and he'll teach you how to do squats, how to do deadlifts, and how to do bench press, and how to do pull-ups. That's kind of the 4 exercises that...
He has a book called Starting Strength you can get. It's got all the
get
pictures.
Get it on Amazon.
Diagrams.
You can get it tonight and just get it on ebook. And all the diagrams are there.
That's what I did.
Your Kindle, whatever.
It was like $2 or something. It's super cheap.
And the program has a weekly workout routine kind of thing, and it's a great little deal. I think if you haven't exercised in a long, long time, doing Starting Strength is a great foundation just to bring your body back into some level of strength before you focus on strength endurance. So a lot of times my beef with a lot of like fitness programs, like Get Fit in 90 days kind of stuff, I feel like maybe they're just different than me, but my body, you put your body into, you have 3 or 4 kids, 2 kids, hell, 1, and you're just busy with work and paying the bills and raising a child, and you're at that stage in life, and you just quit working out and exercising for 5 years. Dude, it took 5 years to put you in the position you're in. I think it takes a lot of time to put yourself out of that position, and one of the best ways to do that is simply to lift, do the Starting Strength program, nice and easy for 6 months or so, and you'll have thicker bones, better joint strength, ligament strength. You'll get more flexibility and mobility and proper movement. Your body will ramp up the hormones for building muscle and recovery and burning fat, all those things. And you're not killing yourself with cardio because let's face it, you're wrecked. And a lot of times that's what keeps people from coming back to the gym. You feel good after weightlifting sessions. You feel like crap after cardio sessions. That's just the way it is. I could go and slam the barbell around and I feel like a monster. I come home, I'm happy, I'm horny, like things are good. You make me do cardio, run 5 miles a day, every day. I just feel like crap constantly. I'm tired.
Yep. I can go crush it. I can lift heavy. Even out of shape, I can lift pretty darn heavy and go about the rest of my day.
Yeah. It triggers a different hormone thing to do this.
I run 30 feet.
Now, when you combine the weightlifting with intensity, that's what I was saying with the workout before, all those burpees, doing as fast as I can, all of that. That's when I get smoked. Add intensity to the weightlifting, that's a whole different ballgame. But nice and easy cardio running, I suppose it's not so bad. But man, the weightlifting thing is, I think, key. And that's just my what works for me in my experience. I think building that foundation and then building strength endurance is a smart move to make. So I like to rehab people that way. So starting strength after you finish that program, you've done it 6 months or so and you've got some strength back and all of that. Then I say start adding a backpack, climbing hills more often, start maybe jogging or doing a row machine, get your heart rate up. And then maybe start after that, throwing in some CrossFit style, random,
There's
just
a lot of programs out there.
total like random programming, muscle confusion kind of stuff. But I feel like too many people jump into that, and it's like, dude, all you need to be. I'd like to see you be able to do, 50 push-ups and 30 sit-ups before we go into all these crazy workouts. Because to me, that's like a foundation. That's just part of what I think. I think that's a great way to stay in shape. Let's do one more, Brent. One more question, folks.
Do you see the one by Mike Venurez?
Let's see. What does Mike say? I see it here. He says, seems like a basic question, but if you're eating out of your Jetboil, are you sacrificing sometimes hard to get water for cleaning it to then have clean boiled water for bone broth and drinks and such? I thought that was a very funny question.
I thought that was cute.
Because when he said, "Are you when he said, he assumed we wash these things. That's the part I was kind of laughing about. I was like, wash my pot? Like what? Okay, he's right. Nobody wants their I guess chocolate cocoa to taste like Top Ramen.
Oh, okay, I'll give you that one.
Okay, so he's got a point. But we don't wash pots. We don't use our water to wash anything. If you're going to wash it, you're going to wash it with your finger and your tongue, and you're just going to kind of, wipe it out. We do use the Jetboil to cook out of ramen, or I'll do my own homemade meals out of that. But when I'm done with it, I just kind of lick it clean, wipe it with my fingers that are filthy, maybe blood-stained, whatever. I don't care. And so we kind of clean it up best we can with just whatever. And then sometimes that's when I like to throw in some boiling water because it gets any residue out. And I throw in, because every night before bed, I'll typically drink a Slumber. I usually do like a half a packet or 3/4 of a packet of Slumber. Full packets are a little much for me. And I'll dump that Slumber in there, and it'll be sleepy chai or cocoa or something. And I'll mix that up, and it has a little tinged flavor maybe from whatever I cooked in it, like my wife's, squash and chicken meal. But it's not enough to bother me, and it does clean out the pot, really, because the hot water kind of takes care of that. It just mixes in there. But yeah, we don't wash it. We don't wash it. And no, I don't notice it really is not a thing. It's not a thing. Sometimes I will bring, we bring toilet paper. Toilet paper is light. Okay, it's not like a baby wipe, which weighs a little more, or some kind of wet wipe. Toilet paper, you can bring like a giant roll without the cardboard in the center and stuff it and it's like a feather.
Yeah.
And so guys like
more space
James that are a lot more clean conscious than Ryan and I. Look at us. We look homeless. Sly actually keeps things a little clean. His hands are clean. His face is clean. You can take, after you finish eating, while your pot's still got residue in it, let's say spaghetti, you just take a tiny bit of toilet paper and you just wipe it out. And then you drop the toilet paper in your little fire or your stove that we're cooking with or something like that. So you really, it's a nonstick surface. You can wipe it right out with toilet paper, which doesn't take water, doesn't weigh anything, and gets your pot plenty clean. And so if I am getting some kind of residue I don't want, I just bring toilet paper along. I used to do that a lot more. I really don't do it anymore because I don't care. I don't care if it tastes a little bit like spaghetti for my hot chocolate.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm too lazy. If I did care, like James, and I'd probably just break out that super lightweight toilet paper and wipe it clean like I used to. And I still do that every now and then, but I kind of, here's how that works. I never know if there's going to be some kind of diarrhea or some kind of whatever. So you bring these limited amounts of TP and baby wipes along with your poop kit, which I do have a poop kit. And there's a whole science around that. And then you go out and you're hunting, and let's say it's, you got 2 more days in your head and home, or 3 days, and you're like, oh, I got plenty of toilet paper. That's when I start using it to clean pots and as a luxury item. But if I don't have a lot, I'm rationing it. I'm not going to bother cleaning the pot because I don't know if I'm going to have enough toilet paper to get me through. You know what I mean? So I saw another one. Let's answer one more. This guy, Inky Boss, he said, okay, I haven't watched any previous videos and I don't claim to understand hunting, but why did you kill the bear? Are they considered a pest? Do their numbers need to be kept in control? Do you kill it for meat? Or is this just all for sport? Please explain. I think that every hunter should get that question. People don't like the idea of you hunting for fun, almost, right? A non-hunter looks at it from the outside and they see what you do and they go, it's not morally right for you to like to kill an innocent animal. I mean, I actually see totally where they're coming from. And it's not necessarily the kill that's making us want to be there. I think people are watching our films and they're understanding that we hunt bears we hunt animals in general, but we hunt bears to be in the mountains, to be at one with nature, we know we need meat and animal fat to thrive and be healthy. And anyone who says otherwise is delusional. Humans are not made to eat soybeans all day. If you're vegetarian or vegan, more power to you. I don't believe that that's the way we have evolved in the way that human beings. I don't think science supports it either. I think it can be done. I just don't think it's optimal. And if I choose to consume meat to be optimal as I can be, then that means the taking of an animal's life one way or another. And I'd rather do it on my terms in the mountains where I want to do it. So I consider it a part of life. And to be honest, I think that human beings, it turns on in our DNA, this activity of doing what I'm doing in the mountains. It fulfills something that we are meant to do. And there is something about the hard work and the struggle and the air and the water, the animals we see, the pursuit, the challenge, the harvest, the cutting up of the animal, the cooking it, the whole thing. I don't know what it is, but there's something about it that is what it means to be human. And when you leave that experience and come home to civilization, you long to go back. There's a fulfillment that happens there, a peace that comes from those mountains and that activity that you don't get somewhere else. So to answer his question, we hunt for all the reasons. I don't like the word sport when it comes to hunting. The term sport in general came from the idea of giving the animal a sporting chance, not the way we associate the word sport today with, a trivial game of basketball or football. It's a sporting chance in terms of giving the animal as big a chance to escape the hunter as possible. So the hunter didn't have too many advantages to make this thing a challenging pursuit. That's the point behind the term. So when people say, or is this all just for sport? What they're saying is, are you doing this just for fun in a meaningless way? And I think it does disservice to what we do because they don't understand, what it is that we're doing, why we're doing it. Do I enjoy the act of hunting? Absolutely. I enjoy the pursuit. I enjoy watching these animals. I enjoy passing on animals that I'm not looking for. Like I'm looking for that old, mature deer or bear. And there's something in that too that's fulfilling. And I'm selective. And then when I see the one I want and I pursue it and I achieve it, it's because I want to feed my family. It's because I want to be responsible for the meat I take. Because I want healthy organic meat that I can't really obtain at the grocery store. Because I want to have a low impact on the environment. And I don't want to necessarily contribute to factory farming, animals in cages. so much that goes into it. So yes, I eat the bear. That's one thing I think that's been really eye-opening to people is that bear is freaking delicious. And for people to see that and understand it and realize that, it's starting to open minds to the value of bear. And so it's kind of the whole picture. Now, are they considered a pest? Do their numbers need to be kept under control? Those are biologist decisions from state to state based on how they want to manage. They test the amount of animals that are out there. They do game management. So it all falls under that umbrella. So anyway, I think that answers the question. Inky boss. So that's it. Let's wrap it up, brother. Anything we should mention before we go?
It might be a little while before we get another film series out.
Maybe, but we're working on something maybe in a week. I spoke to
some people.
Yeah.
And maybe.
We might have some killer hunt footage, some really great hunt footage that we're going to get to produce from
these people.
There's been a couple of hunts I've done that are really epic that I've never posted or shared with killer photography and video content in amazing places with a lot of funny dudes. So hopefully it works out. We'll see. That's it. Let's go, bro. Let's wrap it up.
Night, folks.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay gritty.